Good evening, and welcome to World Pulse News, bringing you in-depth political analysis from Washington and beyond. Tonight, we focus on a sweeping shift in U.S. politics, the expanding role of federal forces in American cities, the ongoing government shutdown, and rising tensions over executive authority. In 2025, under President Trump's second term, the U.S. government has taken the unprecedented step of deploying federal and National Guard troops to cities across the country. These deployments, justified by claims of rising crime, protests, and border pressure, are raising serious questions about civil liberties and the proper scope of executive power. In August, Trump federalized Washington D.C.'s Metropolitan Police Department under an emergency crime order, citing rampant violence. He deployed National Guard units and federal law enforcement to assume control of policing in the capital, a move that no prior president attempted under similar circumstances. That shift allowed federal agents to patrol major tourist areas under local law enforcement oversight. Critics argue the emergency justification does not match crime statistics. Shortly after, the administration extended deployments to other large cities, including Memphis and Portland, under the banner of crime, homelessness, protest suppression, and immigration enforcement. Many saw this as targeting Democratic-led cities, intensifying political polarization. Simultaneously, the federal government entered a shutdown on October 1, 2025. With Congress and the White House unable to agree on a funding bill, over 900,000 federal employees were furloughed, and hundreds of thousands more worked without pay. Essential services such as Medicare, Medicaid, and airport security continued, but numerous agencies including national labs and public health programs faced partial closure. The shutdown deepened political gridlock. Democrats accused Republicans and Trump of weaponizing federal funding to enforce partisan agendas. Republicans, in turn, blamed Democrats for stalling progress. A Senate vote to end the shutdown failed again, prolonging the standoff. In response, Trump froze $2.1 billion in transit aid to Chicago, a major funding lever aimed at applying pressure to Democratic jurisdictions. Across the executive branch, officials are working behind the scenes. The White House has asked federal agencies to prepare mass firing plans, detailing which roles and projects would be cut if funding is not restored. Meanwhile, at the State Department, top management sent a message blaming Democrats for failing to pass the necessary appropriations, marking a rare partisan tone from agency leadership. At the same time, the Trump administration has intensified immigration enforcement. In Illinois, a new ICE crackdown was launched targeting undocumented individuals with serious criminal records. Officials have hinted at possible National Guard support in these operations, reinforcing concerns about militarization of law enforcement. Politically, these developments play into a larger narrative: consolidation of executive power. Trump's actions mirror efforts to expand presidential reach, federalizing city policing, deploying troops internally, launching enforcement crackdowns, all against the backdrop of limited checks due to congressional gridlock. Some critics warn this trend edges toward authoritarian overreach. At the Supreme Court level, the administration has also pressed ahead with changes in regulatory control. For instance, the court allowed Trump to keep a Democratic FTC commissioner off duty while legal challenges play out. And the administration has sought permission from the court to implement diversity cuts in NIH funding despite judicial orders blocking them. As these power plays intensify, public sentiment is shifting. Many Americans view harsh political rhetoric as contributing to violence and polarization. In recent polls, nearly two-thirds believe that political language is fueling unrest in communities. Support for using military force domestically is weak. In a Reuters Ipsos poll, just 38% of Americans supported the deployment of troops to police in Washington, D.C., while 46% opposed. Among opposition voices, Democratic leaders accuse Trump of turning the Department of Justice and federal agencies into political weapons. Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer has warned that the executive branch is becoming a tool for personal vendettas. Meanwhile, protests under banners like "No Kings" are growing across U.S. cities, with critics framing them as resistance to an increasingly autocratic presidency. On the international stage, how the U.S. projects power, both abroad and domestically, has come under intense scrutiny. Trump is pursuing a summit with Russia's Putin in Budapest on Ukraine. At the same time, he is negotiating trade deals with the EU, and pushing nuclear cooperation with Britain. These global engagements appear to contrast with his hardline domestic posture. Looking ahead, the stakes are high. Will Congress muster enough resolve to end the shutdown? Will federal troop deployments be scaled back or expanded further? How will courts adjudicate the balance between security and liberty? The interplay between political power, military force, and civil rights is entering a volatile new chapter. You're watching World Pulse News. Stay with us for live coverage as this political showdown unfolds in real time.